Viewer discretion is advised.
My dear football fans, what is the difference between a baby and a Packers fan? The baby will stop crying after a while, but a Packers fan will keep crying, crying, and crying. It's in their blood to complain about everything the Detroit Lions do, and they will never stop crying. Their fear of being embarrassed will be their downfall. Remember, humans, Green Bay sucks.
Are you ready? Hey, think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down. Degenerate into something fool. We just got tired of doing what you told us to do. That's a brace, boy. Yeah, that's a brace, little man. Break it down. Degeneration us. Degeneration. You think you can tell me what to do? You know who you're talking to? Well, you better get used to the way the ball bounces. I see what you got. It measures in ounces, but that's a brace, boy. Yeah, that's a brace, little man. Break it down. Degeneration us. Degeneration.
Green Bay Packers. Remember when you were leading the Seahawks like all game, 16-0 at one point, and then there was that onside kick, and Ballsacks had a chance to catch it, and it slipped through his hands like a Rubik's Cube covered in butter, or every playoff loss since 2010? Really, wasting 4 MVP seasons from Aaron Rodgers in the process? Those are painful losses. Green Bay Packers. You got swept by the Vikings. I hope you don't think you're somehow elite. You're not even the second best team in your division. You ended the season with bad losses to division rivals, the Lions, the Vikings, and Bears. Oh my, what the fuck was that? First time they've beaten you since 2018. Damn, son. It must suck to watch Aaron Jones hoop it out there. And you might have had a good regular season, but a deep run, you will not. The Green Bay Packers Super Bowls 1 and 2. Now, you history buffs might say that this was an actual three-peat, but I have something you can do. Shut the fuck up. The Green Bay Packers won the NFL championship in 1965, then Super Bowl I and Super Bowl II, and all of these technically came before the official NFL/AFL merger. And no, an NFL championship is not a Super Bowl. Look, if you want to debate over the complicated history of the NFL, have at it with this wall over here. But modern humanity defines a three-peat in the NFL as 3 straight Super Bowls, something the Packers did not achieve because in 1968, they finished 6-7-1 and did not make the playoffs. The Jets beat the Colts that year in the Super Bowl, and yada, yada, yada. Joe Namath is overrated. Green Bay Packers. This TD wasn't just iconic, it helped fuel the NFL's meteoric rise to the top of American sports. The 1967 NFL Championship, dubbed the Ice Bowl, was a slugfest that was played in -15-degree weather with a wind chill of -48. That day, Green Bay's heating system had failed and the field froze. Trailing 70-14, the Packers worked their way down to the Dallas 1. It was 3rd down. Everyone wanted to go the fuck home. Bart Starr snuck it in, and probably the least spectacular TD on this list. It's still iconic, especially since Packers fans won't shut up about it.
Green Bay Packers. I know it's been said a lot of times, but I still can't believe that you guys had Aaron Rodgers as your starting quarterback at his peak for about a decade and a half and only mustered 1 Super Bowl appearance out of those 15 years. How the heck does that even happen? You would think by sheer dumb luck you would at least stumble into 2 or 3 with a quarterback that good, but no, you guys messed it up and you wasted it. But again, I know a lot of Packers fans are probably used to hearing this, so you're a little bit numb to that Rodgers criticism now, even though I think these highlights of all your playoff losses from his time still still sting a little if you're honest with yourself. But guess what? The Aaron Rodgers era is over. He's washed up. He's been gone for several seasons now. Jordan Love is now the quarterback of discussion in Green Bay, and he's gotten a lot of praise because, well, he followed Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, but so far, he's been just okay in his tenure as starting quarterback for the Packers. He has a tendency to start off season slow before getting on a hot streak at the end of the season. A lot of his production, though, seems to kind of be schemed, and he has a lot of dumb throws, and he already has a season-ending interception in a clutch moment in the playoffs, which came against the 49ers last year in the divisional round. If you're going to call yourself Title Town, you should probably have more than 2 championships since 1968, and that's what the Packers have. The Packers, very similar to the Celtics in the NBA, where a lot of their championships were in the Jim Crow era, segregation era, just really a lot of side-eyeing a lot of this crap. But the Packers are a franchise, they're a lot like the Rolling Stones or a 70s, 80s metal hair band that was really popular. They still draw ratings, they still do a pretty good job, but at the end of the day, are they the best? Very often, they are not. Green Bay, biggest need, surprise, pass rush. Green Bay was a team that their best pass rusher is Rashawn Gary, 7.5 sacks. You know, they've invested in this position, the defensive line that is, trying to get pressure. Devontae Wyatt is okay, but he had 5 sacks. Lucas Van Ness was a miss, or looks to be a miss. So they've really gone, they've known that this is a position of need for them. But hey, you look at the news, and Myles Garrett is demanding a trade, and you hear all the time about their GM Brian Gutekunst, however the fuck you say his last name. Get a normal last name, for Christ's sake. They might be the biggest suitor for Myles Garrett. Who knows? Either them or the Eagles. So really, the Packers need a dominant pass rusher. Rashawn Gary is okay, but outside of him, they don't really have it. The Green Bay Packers, 1958. We all love Vince Lombardi and think he was a great coach, and he was. But the draft that the Packers had the year before he got there was a large reason why his teams were probably good, as they drafted 3 Hall of Famers and 5 All-Pros. So it wasn't as if Lombardi was working with a bare cupboard. Jim Taylor, Hall of Famer. Ray Nitschke, Hall of Famer. Jerry Kramer was just inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. Obviously, they were all All-Pros. Dan Curry, linebacker, was an All-Pro as well, their first pick. Dick Christie was a Pro Bowler. And Ken Gray, another guard, was a 6-time Pro Bowler and an All-Pro who is not in the Hall of Fame. These are all in the same draft. Overall, they drafted 5 All-Pros and 3 Hall of Famers. Not bad at all. Green Bay Packers, Martellus Bennett, 2017. It was either Bennett or Jimmy Graham, who the Packers signed to free agency the next season. And although Graham was a disappointment in Green Bay, at least he was liked by his teammates. Martellus Bennett lasted just 7 games with the Packers after signing a 3-year, $21 million contract with $6.3 million guaranteed. But the reason he makes this list is because he was hated by everybody in Green Bay. He said that his shoulder was bad and he had to quit, and that the Packers team doctor forced him to play, which prompted outrage from basically every other longtime Pack player, and it was pretty messy. And then, after he got cut by the Packers, he went to the Patriots that same year and played a couple games before finally getting surgery. It just was not a good look for him. His career would end shortly after. Green Bay Packers, Matt Daddy LaFleur. It's been an interesting ride for LaFleur since he became head coach of the Packers 7 years ago. When he first became the Packers head coach, he inherited a team with a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback and won 13 games and made back-to-back NFC Championship games in each of his first 2 seasons, but he was unable to get over the hump to the Super Bowl. Then the Rodgers era ended with a losing season and no playoffs. Then the Jordan Love era began, and in the Jordan Love era, they've made the playoffs back-to-back seasons, but they've been somewhat mediocre, the Packers, in the regular season. Overall, as it stands, LaFleur has coached 100 career games, and he's won 67 of them, but his playoff record stands at a somewhat underwhelming 3-5. But again, how long LaFleur remains as head coach for the Packers, which I don't think is in any immediate jeopardy, really relies solely on how good Jordan Love is. If Jordan Love is just going to be the Jeff Garcia caliber quarterback he's been, following Joe Montana and Steve Young, like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, like he's the Jeff Garcia. If he's just going to continue to be a just decent quarterback, then the Packers are going to continue reeling out 9-10 win seasons and early playoff exits. But if Jordan Love can take a step forward and become an elite quarterback, then the Packers could win the Super Bowl. It really all depends on Jordan Love, and how much of that is on Matt LaFleur, I don't know. But as of right now, I don't think he's in jeopardy of losing his job. But with the Packers and their history, there's always expectations of playoff success. So this could change somewhat quickly, at least quicker than other franchises. But honestly, I have his hot seat ranking at a 1.5 out of 5 for now. Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love. I've always felt this way say about Jordan Love ever since he became the Packers' full-time starter is that people are kind of willing to overlook his flaws and his inconsistencies because they just expect him to become the next great Packers quarterback. Oh, well, we hit on our last two quarterbacks, Brett Favre and Rodgers. They both became first ballot Hall of Famers. So in time, Jordan Love will also become a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Kind of like when you go to the slot machines and you get all sevens a couple times in a row, but you keep going. It's like the hot hand fallacy. And so you think the next one's going to hit too, and then it doesn't. That's how I feel about Jordan Love, where he's not a bad player, but I don't think he's a great quarterback. And he has been really bad in his last two playoff games, including last year where he was horrific versus the Eagles. Basically, he kind of has this clout and this standing in a lot of people's minds, to me, where, oh, well, he's the next Packers quarterback, so he'll become great just like Rodgers and Favre, when he really hasn't proven anything yet. He's very inconsistent. He's turnover prone. I just think that while good, he gets too much credit for things he hasn't done. At least not yet. Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love. I keep saying this every time I talk about Jordan Love, and I think it's really the best comparison. He is the same way the 49ers had Joe Montana and Steve Young. Who came after Steve Young? Jeff Garcia. And that's, to me, that's what Jordan Love is. And Jeff Garcia, and that's not, I don't mean that as a slight, because Jeff Garcia was a good quarterback and he made a couple Pro Bowls. He had some good years, but he's not as good as Montana and Steve Young, just the same way like Jordan Love is a good quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback, but he's inconsistent. All right. I feel like he gets a pass because I feel like people have this predestination complex with him where they're just, all right, well, we're waiting for you to become a great quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, because your two predecessors in Green Bay were Hall of Fame quarterbacks, so therefore you're going to be one. And it's just kind of like, to me, if you do that, you're not going to be happy. If you're waiting for that to happen, you're just not going to be happy. You're going to end up being disappointed. He's prone to making big mistakes. He was horrible in the playoffs last year versus the Eagles. That was a winnable game, and he was terrible. And he also had the game-losing interception versus the 49ers a couple years ago in another winnable playoff game. So this is a guy who already, and again, he sat for 3 years, so he's going into his 6th year now. He's not necessarily, even though he's only started for 2 years, he's going into his 6th season. So, the margin for error is not necessarily, he feels younger, seems like a younger quarterback than he actually is, basically. So he's definitely not bad, but he's also not a quarterback that I'm afraid of my team playing against. So his prove it rating I have at an 8 out of 10.
Here we go. It's 4th and 10. This is the game. They have to call. They can't call another timeout. Hike the ball. They just get the ball off. Rodgers looking, firing, misses completely. And the Green Bay Packers are gonna lose to the Detroit Lions. There's 36 seconds left, and they only have 2 timeouts. On Coach Fire, I don't run the ball. His name's Aaron Charles Rodgers. Cedar, thank you for the tour. The Green Bay Packers just lost to the Lions. Luke Witura, it's all chaos. They lost to the freaking Lions. It can't save it. Are you effing kidding me? I'm sorry, but that, he literally held him the entire time. Just garbage. Absolute garbage. Absolute complete garbage. Oh my god. We just lost to the Lions. We legit lost to the Lions. First 5-game losing streak since 2008. Let's pray for a miracle. Pray. Oh my god, the offense is staying out on the field. The offense is staying out on the field. Do not jump. Dude, what? So they're lining up to go for it. They're 3 for 4. Goff under center. Heck, so we're clenching. Oh, he falls, and it's going to be a first down. Come on! Oh, my God. Ramsey Tour, nope. They got the first. Jared Goff falls down on the handoff, and they still got it. Are you effing kidding me, man? What's the point? Back through the fire. I got a party when he moved to streamers in the capacity of Lambo. Dude, trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. He effing fell down, man. So they're just going to run this clock out. Ugh, JX Ventura, fake field goal. Dude, I can't. They're 4 for 5 on 4th down. Jared Goff gets tripped up by his own offensive lineman. There's no containment whatsoever. So embarrassing, man. So I hate that that's how it's gonna end. Oh my god. It's just not a good performance by this defense at all. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is his knee down? Hold on. Grace Tourist, sorry, time Lions so likable. I know, right? Imagine they call that. That would be really nice. That would be really nice if his knee was down. That would be... Hold on. Yeah, he wasn't touched, though. I think it should be fine. Dude, oh, it sucks so much. Sucks so much. Yeah, no one touched him, so... Alright, you're a Bengals fan first time. Yep. He wasn't touched. He wasn't touched. Let's see. And... the kick is up. It's good. Lions win. Damn, man. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. GG's Lions, man. It was a great game. It was such a great game, but oh man, that's heartbreaking. Oh, they caught the Lions at the right time, and I gotta give the Lions credit, especially in that first half.